When the Diddy story exploded into public view, most people assumed the spotlight would stay right where it started, on Diddy himself. But as the headlines grew louder, something unexpected happened. The internet didn't just look forward, it rewound. Old clips, old interviews, old jokes that once felt harmless suddenly landed differently. And one name kept resurfacing in comment sections, reaction videos, and podcasts: Ellen DeGeneres. Not because she's accused of anything criminal, not because she's named in any legal filing, but because when people started rewatching old footage through today's lens, the tone changed, and viewers started asking questions that never came up before. Joe Rogan was one of the first major voices to say it out loud. Why are certain names completely missing from the conversation, even when the footage exists? Diddy appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show multiple times over the years. Their on-air dynamic was casual, playful, and centered around one recurring topic: his parties. At the time, it was treated as late-night humor. Now, with federal charges dominating the news cycle, people are replaying those moments with a different level of scrutiny. There's a particular exchange viewers won't let go of. Diddy tells Ellen she's invited to his birthday party. She jokes about the timing. He mentions that the party starts early, but then adds that the real party happens later, upstairs. Ellen laughs and responds with, "I know about those." That line used to get a chuckle. Today, it's being clipped, looped, and debated endlessly. The question isn't, did Ellen know something illegal? The question people keep asking is simpler. What did she think she knew, and why hasn't she said anything since? Joe Rogan's point wasn't accusatory, it was observational. He noted that many celebrities openly joked about Diddy's party culture for years, publicly and repeatedly, yet now claim complete distance or silence. Rogan didn't single Ellen out as guilty. He singled her out as visible. The footage exists. The jokes exist. The comfort level exists. And when the narrative shifted, that visibility turned into discomfort. This conversation gained even more traction when people connected it to Ellen's own career arc. In 2020, BuzzFeed News published an investigation describing a toxic workplace environment behind the Ellen DeGeneres show. Former staff members spoke about intimidation, fear of retaliation, and a culture where speaking up felt risky.
Target.
Ellen
Party, but there's a camera that swings around and they go, "Hey, yo, oh, Odell Beckham," and you see Justin Bieber's head come up from his crotch, and he looks in the camera and he's very confused. It's a really disturbing video.
At that time, Puff was the biggest guy in the world. You know, you couldn't even get in his parties. And he was throwing a party. He said, "Yo, Playboy, this party's $1.5 million." I said, "For what? I mean, what do you say that? It costs $1.5 million to throw this party." I said, "Puff, I love it. The party's amazing. Yes, the mayor is here and everything." I said, "But that's too much money." I said, "You come to my place in LA, I'll throw you a party for $400 that will rival this party."
Addressed the situation publicly. Executive producers were removed, apologies were issued, but the damage to her brand was real. Be Kind no longer felt untouchable. So when the Diddy story reignited public conversations about power, silence, and who gets protected, people began drawing parallels, fairly or not legally, not criminally, narratively. The public doesn't just consume facts, it consumes patterns. And patterns are what keep Ellen's name circulating in this discussion. Add in her decision to end the show, her move overseas with Portia de Rossi, and her noticeably quiet stance as other celebrities issue statements. And suddenly, internet speculation fills the vacuum left by silence. To be clear, silence is not guilt. But in the court of public opinion, silence becomes a canvas. And that's where this story starts to snowball. As the Diddy investigation grew louder, the internet did what it always does in moments like this. It widened the circle. People didn't stop at Diddy, they didn't stop at the charges, they didn't even stop at the lawsuits. Instead, they started pulling threads, and one of those threads kept leading back to television moments that once felt harmless. That's where Ellen DeGeneres re-enters the conversation. Not as a suspect, not as an accused figure, but as a cultural checkpoint. Someone who helped normalize Diddy's image for years on one of the safest, most mainstream platforms in entertainment. The Ellen DeGeneres show wasn't edgy, it wasn't controversial. It was the place celebrities went to soften their image. When someone joked on Ellen's couch, audiences subconsciously interpreted it as approved, friendly, and non-threatening. That's why those party jokes matter now. Joe Rogan didn't accuse Ellen of knowing anything criminal. What he questioned was the contrast, how openly people talked about Diddy's party culture on camera for years, and how silent many of those same people became once the tone shifted. Rogan pointed.
Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really, that early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the after.
Pointed out that Diddy wasn't hiding these parties. Celebrities talked about them publicly. Hosts laughed along, audiences clapped. It wasn't underground, it was mainstream. That includes Ellen. People began stitching together a timeline. Diddy appearing multiple times. Repeated jokes about parties, repeated references to after-hours events, and Ellen's reactions, playful, knowing, relaxed. Again, none of that proves wrongdoing, but it does create optics, and optics are powerful. Then the internet added another layer, Ellen's own workplace scandal. When BuzzFeed published allegations of a toxic environment behind her show, it shattered her carefully crafted brand. Former employees described fear, intimidation, and a culture where speaking up felt dangerous. Ellen apologized publicly and said she was unaware of many of the issues. That explanation split public opinion. Some believed her, others didn't. So when Diddy's situation reignited conversations about power, silence, and who gets protected, people started drawing parallels, not legal parallels, power parallels. People began asking, if Ellen says she didn't know what was happening on her own set, how much did anyone really know about Diddy's world either? That question cuts both ways, and that's why it stuck. Another moment that resurfaced was Ellen's 2009 interview with Diddy regarding Chris Brown and Rihanna. Ellen pressed Diddy on why Chris Brown was allowed to stay at his home after the assault allegations. Ellen positioned herself as someone taking a moral stand. Now viewers are watching that clip alongside allegations about her own show and asking uncomfortable questions about consistency. Not guilt, consistency. Then there's the timing. Ellen ends her show. Her public reputation shifts. She releases a Netflix special addressing being kicked out of show
There's
business.
a lot of talk going on with Chris Brown being at your place in Miami, and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together.
And it's my house, and I'm allowed to give my house to whoever I want to give my house to.
Sure.
That's number one. Number two is that I'm the type of person that I don't cast a stone or cast a judgment on anybody. And so if a friend or friends ask me for a favor, then I'm going to be there.
Then she and Portia de Rossi relocate to the UK, publicly citing political reasons. None of that is evidence of anything, but to an audience already skeptical, timing becomes symbolic, and symbolism is fuel online. At that point, the discussion moved beyond Ellen herself and became about who gets interrogated and who gets a softer edit. Why are some celebrity connections relentlessly examined while others quietly fade into the background? Why do certain names trend while others don't? Even when clips exist. Joe Rogan's role in this conversation isn't as an investigator, it's as an amplifier. He voiced what many people were already wondering but hadn't heard acknowledged on a massive platform. Once that happens, the audience runs with it, and that's exactly what happened here. At this stage, it's important to slow the conversation down because speculation thrives when clarity disappears. There is no evidence linking Ellen DeGeneres to Diddy's alleged crimes. She is not named in lawsuits. She is not under investigation. She is not accused by any victim. That distinction matters, but public conversations don't operate like courtrooms. They operate on perception, trust, and narrative memory. And Ellen's narrative shifted long before Diddy's situation exploded. When her workplace scandal surfaced, it cracked the foundation of her brand. The be kind image collided with stories of fear, hierarchy, and silence. Even after apologies and changes, the trust didn't fully return. So when people started revisiting old footage involving powerful men, Ellen's name stuck, not because of proof, but because of reputation erosion. There's also a broader cultural reckoning happening. Audiences are no longer satisfied with "I didn't know." They question systems, they question environments, they question how long things can happen openly before someone notices. That doesn't mean everyone noticed, but it does mean silence is interpreted differently now. Ellen's silence regarding Diddy isn't suspicious in a legal sense, but in a cultural sense, it feels noticeable. And that's where the conversation remains. It's not about accusing Ellen of crimes. It's about examining how power protects itself, how platforms normalize behavior, and how humor can later feel uncomfortable when context changes. This isn't unique to Ellen. We've seen it with other celebrities. Old interviews resurfacing, jokes being reinterpreted, friendships being scrutinized. The difference is that Ellen's show was uniquely positioned as a place of moral clarity. When that clarity cracked, everything around it became fair game for reevaluation. That's why rumors spread so easily, even false ones. Not because they're believable, but because people no longer trust the surface narrative. And that's dangerous, because speculation without evidence can spiral fast. That's why it's critical to separate questions from claims. As of now, the only confirmed facts are these. Diddy is facing serious legal challenges. Ellen DeGeneres is not charged or accused. Old clips are being reinterpreted through a modern lens. Public trust in celebrity narratives is lower than ever. Everything else lives in the gray space of public debate. So what happens next? For Ellen, likely nothing publicly. She's stepped away.
I'm gonna be early.
Are you going to be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
You know I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not
Okay.
too late, because, you know, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know?
Away from daily television. She's living privately. She's not obligated to respond to internet speculation. For Diddy, the legal process will play out in court, not online. For the audience, the real takeaway isn't about Ellen specifically. It's about how fast reputations can be recontextualized when power dynamics shift. The internet doesn't forget, it replays, and sometimes it rewrites. So the real question isn't, did Ellen know something? The real question is, how much does cultural memory change when trust breaks? That's what people are reacting to. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Ellen's past clips are being unfairly reinterpreted? Or do you think public figures should address resurfacing connections when the context changes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you made it this far, hit like, share this with someone following the story, and subscribe to I Love Gossip. Because the most interesting stories aren't always about what's proven, but about what makes people uncomfortable to talk about.